Rollout crosser, delayed fade. Guys, everybody does this on offense in Madden 22, and it's so hard to stop. But in this video, I'm going to show you the defense to lock this annoying offense up. Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's Duke back here from sportsgamers.com, and we got a great Madden 22 tip video for you guys today. I'm going to break down one of my favorite coverage defenses in the entire game. It stops the run and the pass very well, easy to set up, and it does extremely good against these annoying three-receiver trip sets where people try to hit the deep crossers, roll out, throw delayed fades, maybe deep posts, flats. You know, all the common stuff you see when you play online, and we're going to be breaking down how to defend it with a very easy setup. Anybody can do this. You don't need to use a specific team or players to make this work. And honestly, you can find what I'm about to show you in a lot of different playbooks. So I believe I chose the Chicago Bears defensive playbook for this video, but honestly, all you got to do is just go into your playbook and you want to go ahead and find nickel, some sort of nickel formation ideally, because nickel is going to defend the run and the pass well enough, and you want to look for a cover for quarters. So here we got the 3-5 will, and I see cover 4 quarters. That will work just fine. So just ideally, just find a nickel formation with the cover 4 quarters play, and we're going to break this down against the tray offset, which is very similar to trips tight end. You know, 3 receiver formations, even, you know, where you have 3 receivers on one side, the tight end on the other side. People love from these formations to throw crossers and delay fades and roll out. Now the problem with this offense is it's so hard to stop because, you know, just against standard zones and man coverage, nothing really is going to be able to consistently defend this. Now, I know right there we dropped underneath it, but you guys, as you guys know, most of the time when you roll out, the defender does not play that at all. And then if somehow he does, everyone's just going to release the delayed fade anyways. But this is more like it right here. See how he just doesn't guard it? That's the big problem on this year's game. So how can we stop that and also the delayed fade at the same time? Well, I love to play the quarters defense, the match coverage. Match coverage does a great job. Now, before we get too much further into the video, I do want to remind you guys, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video if you're rocking with me. Smash that like button, comment on the video. All that stuff helped me out a lot. We can get to 300 likes on this video. I'll post another fire defensive tip. And also, if you're looking to get better at Madden 22, check out sportsgamers.com, because that's where I post on my premium Madden 22 tips and ebooks. We have offensive and defensive schemes, weekly tips, and we have content in the Madden Vault and our ebooks, for both current and next-gen consoles. So no matter what you play on, we got you covered. So guys, this setup is pretty simple. First of all, if you do have a fast defensive backfield, you can show blitz. But what I normally do is I just base a line. And I don't really like to show blitz because if your DBs are not fast enough, they could get beat deep. Now, what you can do here is you can either rush 4, or if someone's hitting you with a ton of tight end delayed fades, what I like to do a lot of times is just man up the tight end. So I'll just take a defensive lineman. Sometimes I'll put in a good lineman at D tackle. Sometimes I'll put in a linebacker at D end. And I'll just man the guy up on the D tackle. On the tight end. I'll just man this guy up on the tight end. You know, whoever I want to man up on the tight end, let's do it. And that's going to allow for them to watch the delayed fade. Now, technically here, guys, your quarter flats are supposed to be taking away the first receiver hitting the flat on each side. So like if the running back on the right hit the flat out of the backfield, we should be taking him with Wilson. If they did on the left, maybe a receiver, Hilton should be taking that. But you guys know most people will just do something to where they have a cross or delayed fade, maybe a deep post, maybe a drag. Now, I like to control the safety on the tight end side of the field, because one thing I'll say about this defense is it does a good job overall, but you have to watch the crossers, because sometimes the logic in the match coverage for crossers is not the best. So that's why we get on the safety. Now, another thing you could do is you could just go ahead and like maybe bluff blitz this guy right here. He's going to drop back in his zone, and then go ahead and man up this guy right here on the tight end. So you're kind of replacing the assignment of this guy man up on the tight end with the D tackle. And I know it's not showing that on my play art, but that's just a glitch. Now remember, guys, you can put safeties in a linebacker. I actually already did that for this formation, so I'd recommend doing that too, especially if you play mutt, just to get better coverage. So let's take a look at how this would look against the common, theme here, which is to just go ahead and do something like this: crosser, delay, fade, maybe a deep post and a drag. So you guys could see pretty much everything is guarded well. I'm just helping out on that crosser because, like I said, sometimes the logic defending the crosser on the tight end side of the field is not the greatest. But as you guys can see here, we were able to get some quick pressure and actually got a sack pretty fast before they could do anything. But if you take a look at the coverage here, you'll notice that the DBs over here are double teaming the deep post. I have the quarter flat that's kind of watching the drag over here. You guys can see he's going to him. And I mean, honestly, the guy we dropped back on the bluff blitz actually covered the crosser pretty decently, but obviously we're not relying upon that. So I was over there to watch that myself. When running this defense, you are just mostly rushing the D-line, so you do want to have a good pass rush. Ideally, it's not like required or anything, but you know, the better pass rush you have, definitely the less time they're going to have to find anybody open on the field. Also, because you're controlling a safety, make sure your safeties are your best users. When you're running this, if you don't man up the tight end, I mean, I always personally recommend manning up the tight end because the problem is if you don't man up the tight end, and let me just get on the D-line to show you what I'm talking about, you're going to have two things to watch. So first of all, I told you have to watch the crosser because if you don't, see how it kind of just, I mean, it got covered pretty reasonably well that time, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes the crosser doesn't get guarded well, so you'll actually have to watch it yourself. That's not a every time thing to where that crosser gets matched really well. I mean, it's going to get, like, don't get me wrong, like, someone's going to match it, but oftentimes, as you see there, sometimes they'll just get open. So you have got to watch that as a user, and as you guys can imagine, if you don't man up the tight end and you're watching the crosser, obviously the tight end could get open. Like a 3-rec hook zone, it will sit in that general area, don't get me wrong, but it's not always going to defend the tight end cross or the tight end delayed route as well as manning him up well. 3-rec hook zones do a decent job. So if you just want to rush 4 and leave the tight end unguarded, and guard the crossing route yourself, that's fine. But the reason why I recommend manning him up more than anything is that sometimes people will just do something like this and streak him. And if you don't man him up, well, he can get open, obviously. You know what I mean? Because he might beat that DB down the sideline. You never really know. So that's why I would always recommend having him manned up than just throwing this guy onto a bluff blitz to get him in the 3-rec and playing on the safety. This way, if they do try to streak their tight end instead of just putting him on a delayed fade, someone's always going to watch that, so you don't have to worry about running down the middle of the field, and you can just take the crosser away yourself just like I do here. Nothing's open, and once again, we're able to get a coverage sack. And the best thing about that is, if they do try to do the delayed fade, you'll have someone sitting there waiting for it anyways. So, he's not going to get open regardless. We can just stay on the safety, and we can watch for all the crossers. Now, as you guys know, this is trips offset, I believe, trips tight end. There's slight differences in formations, and sometimes you'll have people doing crossers to different receivers. So, you definitely got to have coverage for the crosser, no matter who the receiver is. So just don't always lock in with your user on that one receiver. See who's on the crosser and adjust accordingly. Or even, sometimes they'll have different plays to where it could be a post coming over the middle field. That's just you. Any sort of post or crosser coming from the trip side to the tight end side, that is your responsibility when you run something like this. Now, of course, there's other types of plays people could run. Another very common concept is a verticals type play. And this does a very good job against that too. So again, we're just going to baseline, man up this tight end, and go ahead and put this guy in a bluff blitz, control the safety. Now, if they run verticals, honestly, each verticals play is different, but just something like this, all you really want to do is just, again, watch for those types of routes coming to your area of the field. You guys can see I help out on that crosser, and they're going to have to take a coverage sack. There's nothing open. If you take a look, the quarter zone on the left, the outside, matches the fade. The safety matches the streak down the middle. I help out on that crosser. And then we have the tight end manned up. And then there's supposed to be quarter flat on each side of the field anyways to help in the flat, as you see over here. Big rule of thumb when running this defense is even on the safeties and especially the corners, make sure you have fast guys with good man coverage and play rec, because match coverage, oftentimes, as you see, is essentially man. So you can't just have hitters out there at safety that are only good at zone, because if you do that, you're going to end up, a lot of times you'll get beat because, you know, you just don't have the personnel to keep up. But here again, I'm going to put the tight end on a route over the middle of the field. I'm just trying to show you guys a few different examples of what could happen if they change up their route combo. But the thing I really like about this, the way I'm running it, is no matter what they do, I have the tight end manned up, so that's not really going to be an option. If they try to force it in, I mean, that's my responsibility to pick that off more than anything. But because the tight end is manned up, I never worry about him. Whether it's a delay fade, you know, maybe they put him on a post, streak, drag, a crosser even. I am never, like, that's never something that's on my mind because I know, okay, I manned him up. We're fine. If you're going to force the ball to me, we're going to be right there. And this defense, more than times than not, will result in a coverage sack or a pick. The other thing I really like about this defense is the run D. I'm going to show you that in a second. But look at what I'm saying here. There's really no options here. All they can try to do is maybe just try to like force this crosser in. But, you know, most of the time, like I said, it gets matched. But we just have to help out because the sad thing is, even though it gets matched, if we don't help out, a lot of times it's just going to get beat anyways because the match just doesn't do a great job guarding trips crossers, which is why we get on the safety. The other reason why we get on the safety, I'm about to show you. So, you know, obviously you guys know people like to run inside zone a lot from these types of formations. Well, we can just, being on the safety, we can help out a lot in the run game. We can crash down if we see a run, fit, and they're not going to be able to get much yardage. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this tip. I've had so many people asking me how to use this defense against trips formations and rollout crossers. Here you guys go. Until next time, it's Duke. I'm out of here. If you like that video, smash that like button for me one time.